Did King Charles just change the future of the monarchy? Reports suggest he may have made a statement that could alter the royal line of succession. Could this mean a shift in power, a redefined role for key royals, or even a modernized monarchy? Has he subtly signaled a new leadership model? Could Princess Charlotte or Prince Harry have unexpected roles? And if a change is coming, what does it mean for the British crown? For centuries, the British throne has passed down a well-defined line, following strict rules of succession that leave little room for surprises. The public has always assumed that when the time comes, the transition of power will follow tradition. But now, that assumption may be in question. If the reports are true, King Charles may have just thrown a curveball that could rewrite history. Tensions have been quietly building within the monarchy, and recent developments have only intensified the speculation. The king's health has become a growing concern, sparking debates about the longevity of his reign. Though Buckingham Palace has remained tight-lipped, there have been noticeable changes. His public appearances have been fewer, his schedule more controlled, and insiders have hinted at discussions happening behind closed doors, discussions that could involve the future of the crown. Speculation has reached a fever pitch, with sources suggesting that Charles has already made a decision regarding his successor. The very idea of this has sent shockwaves through royal circles, raising questions that no one can yet answer with certainty. Has the king taken steps to prepare Britain for an unexpected heir? If so, who could it be? While the official line of succession remains clear, recent history has proven that the monarchy is not immune to change. One only needs to look at past moments of royal turbulence to understand that the unexpected can and does happen. The British crown has survived abdications, scandals, and political shifts, adapting each time. If King Charles has indeed made an unconventional decision, this could mark one of the most significant moments in modern royal history. But before diving into speculation, it's important to understand how the royal line of succession actually works. The rules that dictate who inherits the throne are more than just tradition. They are set by law, with centuries of precedent behind them. The Act of Settlement, passed in 1701, ensures that the throne passes to the sovereign's direct descendants, following a clear order. This means that, barring unforeseen circumstances, Prince William, as Charles's eldest son, is next in line. Behind him stands his firstborn, Prince George, followed by Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis. Under this legal framework, William's position as the future king has never been in doubt. He has spent his entire life being groomed for the role, preparing to follow in his father's and grandmother's footsteps. His responsibilities have steadily increased, taking on more significant roles within the royal family as Charles transitioned to the throne. If tradition holds, William will become king, and after him, George will take his place. But if tradition were truly unbreakable, then history wouldn't have the exceptions it does. The British monarchy has seen moments where unexpected changes in succession have taken place. The most infamous example remains the abdication of King Edward VIII in 1936. His decision to step down for love sent the royal family into crisis, forcing his younger brother, George VI, to take the throne. That moment reshaped the monarchy, proving that even seemingly immovable traditions could be altered under extraordinary circumstances. With these past events in mind, the idea that King Charles could influence the line of succession is not as far-fetched as it may seem. While he does not have the power to single-handedly change the order of inheritance, he could signal a preference, raising the possibility of a different future. This brings us to the speculation that has gripped royal watchers. Has Charles hinted at something new? And if so, what does it mean for those next in line? One name that has surfaced repeatedly in these discussions is Prince Harry. Despite stepping back from royal duties in 2020, Harry remains in the official line of succession. As the younger son of King Charles, he is fifth in line to the throne. His children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, follow directly after him. The idea of Harry being positioned for a greater role is controversial. His relationship with the monarchy has been strained, and his public statements have only deepened the divide between him and the royal establishment. Yet some believe that his unique position as both an insider and outsider could make him an unexpected but strategic choice. Could Charles be considering a way to bring Harry back into the fold? The odds of this happening seem slim, but the rumors persist. Some royal analysts argue that Charles may wish to repair the fractured family dynamic and secure the future of the monarchy by keeping all options open. Others believe that, despite any personal considerations, the legal framework surrounding the succession makes it unlikely that Harry will play any major role. Public opinion on the matter is equally divided. Some Britons still see Harry as a potential asset to the monarchy, while others view his departure as a permanent separation. If Charles has made any moves to shift the balance, it could be met with significant resistance. The question remains, if not Harry, then who? Could Charles be looking beyond the expected heirs? Some royal commentators have speculated that Princess Charlotte could play a bigger role than previously imagined. At just 8 years old, she has already shown a natural confidence in public appearances, drawing comparisons to her great-grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. Could Charles be laying the groundwork for a future in which she takes on a more prominent leadership role within the royal family? While unlikely that she would bypass her older brother George, the possibility of her being positioned for greater responsibility is not out of the question. Some believe that Charles, recognizing the evolving nature of the monarchy, could be emphasizing the importance of shared leadership among the younger generation. With so many questions lingering, one thing is clear: the monarchy is at a crossroads. If King Charles has indeed made a statement about his successor, the impact will be felt not just within the royal family but throughout Britain and beyond. The public's trust in the monarchy has always been shaped by its ability to balance tradition with the need for change. How this moment unfolds could define the royal family's path for decades to come. As speculation continues to mount, all eyes remain on Buckingham Palace. Will an official statement confirm or dispel the rumors? Or will this mystery remain unsolved, fueling even more debate about the future of the monarchy? One thing is certain: whatever King Charles has decided, it is bound to shape the fate of the British crown in ways no one expected. Rumors rarely fade in the royal world, they evolve. The speculation surrounding King Charles's supposed announcement has taken on a life of its own, stretching from whispers in palace corridors to headlines across the globe. The question remains unanswered, yet the theories continue to grow. Some insist the king's words were taken out of context, while others believe he has laid the groundwork for a change unlike anything seen in modern royal history. At the heart of this uncertainty is the very foundation of the monarchy, the line of succession. To understand whether a shift is truly underway, one must look at the structure that has governed the British throne for centuries. The rules are precise, written into law, and not easily altered. Prince William, as the eldest son, is the natural successor. His path has been set since birth, molded by decades of preparation, duty, and expectation. Following William, his eldest son, Prince George, holds the position of future king. His life, though still in its early years, has already been shaped by this destiny. Public appearances, official engagements, and careful guidance have placed him firmly on the path to one day wearing the crown. After George comes his sister, Princess Charlotte, then their younger brother, Prince Louis. The order is clear, seemingly unshakable. And yet, if King Charles has truly made a statement about the monarchy's future, it suggests something beyond tradition is at play. For some, this raises an unsettling question. Could the king legally bypass Prince William? The answer is complicated. While a reigning monarch holds great influence, succession laws are not dictated by a single ruler's will. They are enshrined in British law and require parliamentary approval for any alteration. The Act of Settlement of 1701, along with subsequent modifications, dictates that the crown must pass through direct lineage unless extraordinary circumstances arise. Even so, history has shown that while the formal order may remain unchanged, the influence of a reigning monarch can shape the throne's future in subtle yet profound ways. Queen Elizabeth II spent much of her reign reinforcing William's role as the future of the monarchy. From his upbringing to his increasing responsibilities, she made it clear that the line of succession was not just a legal formality. It was a carefully managed transition. Now, the decision rests in King Charles's hands. While it is unlikely that he would seek to overturn the established order, could he be signaling a shift in how the monarchy will function moving forward? Some royal experts believe that rather than a direct change in succession, Charles may be preparing the public for an evolution of royal responsibilities, one where multiple figures take on roles that were once concentrated in a single heir. One name that continues to surface in these discussions is Prince Harry. Though his departure from royal duties marked a significant turning point, his place in the line of succession remains intact. At present, he stands fifth in line to the throne, after Prince Louis. Yet his decision to step away from royal life, combined with the tensions between him and the royal family, have placed him in a unique and uncertain position. In another time, his role might have been seen as that of a spare, a safeguard should anything happen to the primary line of succession. But Harry has distanced himself too much from royal life for that role to be easily reclaimed. His move to the United States, along with his public criticisms of the institution, has created a divide that many believe is too wide to bridge. The question, then, is whether King Charles sees a future where Harry is once again a central figure in the monarchy, or whether he remains on the sidelines, his place in the order purely symbolic. If Charles's statement hints at an adjustment rather than a complete restructuring, what could that look like? Some believe it may involve a redistribution of royal duties, ensuring that figures like Charlotte and Louis are not merely secondary figures, but play active roles in maintaining the monarchy's presence. In past generations, younger royal siblings often faded into the background once the heir stepped into power. Princess Margaret, though highly visible in her early years, never played a substantial role in shaping policy or state matters. Prince Andrew once had a larger public role, but in time, his responsibilities diminished. This pattern has been consistent. Secondary royals gradually shift away from the spotlight as the heir's path becomes more defined. But what if that is no longer the model King Charles envisions? Could the monarchy be preparing for an era where leadership is more shared? A structure where multiple figures hold authority, ensuring stability in a world that increasingly demands transparency and modernization? Charlotte, in particular, has been viewed as a royal with potential beyond her current place in the line of succession. Even as a child, her presence at public engagements has been noted as remarkably confident. Unlike past generations, she may not simply be the younger sibling of the heir. She could play a pivotal role in shaping the monarchy alongside her brother. If Charles's recent remarks point toward a modernized approach, it may not be about naming a different heir, but rather ensuring that when William ascends, he does so with a stronger, more defined support system within the royal family. A system where Charlotte, and possibly Louis, take on roles with greater prominence, rather than existing solely as supporting figures in the background. This raises an interesting possibility. Could Charles be signaling that the monarchy will no longer function under the weight of a single ruler, but rather as a unit? While this would not change the line of succession in a legal sense, it could reshape public perception of the monarchy's future. Public reception to these ideas has been mixed. Some believe the traditional model should remain unchanged, that a king or queen must stand alone in their role just as Queen Elizabeth did for 7 decades. Others argue that in an age where the monarchy faces increasing scrutiny, a collaborative leadership model could strengthen the institution's longevity. If Charles's words were indeed intentional, they may be laying the groundwork for a transition unlike any before. Whether this means reshaping royal duties or signaling a subtle shift in the line of prominence, one thing is certain: this discussion is far from over. The days ahead may bring further clarification, or they may only deepen the mystery surrounding the king's true intentions. The discussion surrounding King Charles's rumored statement has reached a boiling point. What began as quiet speculation has now become a matter of public debate. The monarchy, an institution that has long relied on stability and continuity, is once again under scrutiny. People are asking the same question: what exactly did the king say, and what does it mean for the future of the British throne? If Charles's remarks were meant to be subtle, they have had the opposite effect. Every word, every gesture, and every decision he makes is now being analyzed for deeper meaning. Some believe that his message was clear. The royal family's structure is evolving, and with it, the expectations of those next in line. Others insist that nothing of substance has changed, that William remains the unquestioned heir, and that speculation is being fueled by a misunderstanding of royal protocol. Despite the differing opinions, one undeniable fact remains: Prince Harry is still in the line of succession. His place may seem distant, buried under layers of responsibility that rest on William and his children, but it is a fact nonetheless. If something were to disrupt the traditional order, Harry would be next. For some, the very idea is unthinkable. Harry's departure from royal duties was not a quiet transition. It was a storm that shook the foundations of the monarchy. His decision to step away, coupled with the tensions that followed, has created a divide that many believe is beyond repair. His interviews, his memoir, and his new life in the United States all paint a picture of a man who has moved beyond royal life. And yet, his position in the line of succession remains. Could Charles have referenced Harry in his rumored statement? If he did, what would that mean? The possibility of Harry playing any role in the monarchy's future is met with strong reactions on both sides. Some believe that a reconciliation is still possible, that Charles may want to bridge the gap between his two sons before his reign comes to an end. Others argue that such a move would be politically and institutionally impossible, that Harry's choices have made his position within the royal family unsalvageable. If Charles is indeed considering adjustments to the roles within the royal family, it is far more likely that those adjustments involve William's children rather than his younger son. The growing presence of Princess Charlotte in public engagements has led many to believe that she could take on a role beyond that of a traditional younger sibling. Unlike past royal children who have remained in the background, Charlotte appears to be emerging as a figure of increasing importance. The idea of a shared leadership model within the monarchy is not entirely unprecedented. Throughout history, there have been moments when monarchs have relied heavily on siblings or trusted family members to support their reign. However, this has never extended to a formalized structure where multiple members hold equal standing. The British monarchy is built on a singular line of inheritance, one ruler, one successor. Any deviation from this model would mark one of the most dramatic shifts in royal history. What would this shift look like? If Charlotte's presence is being elevated in preparation for a larger role, does this mean that George's future as king would look different from that of his predecessors? Traditionally, the heir is expected to bear the full weight of responsibility, with their siblings taking on secondary roles. But the modern world does not function as it did in past centuries. Could this be an acknowledgement that the monarchy, like everything else, must evolve to survive? The public remains divided on these possibilities. To some, the monarchy's greatest strength lies in its traditions, its steadfast adherence to rules that have been in place for generations. To others, change is not only inevitable, but necessary for the institution's survival. If Charles is signaling a transition, whether in responsibility or influence, the reaction will depend largely on how it is presented. For now, nothing has been officially confirmed. The palace has remained silent, as it often does in times of controversy. No clarifications have been offered, no denials issued, but the longer the silence stretches, the more people speculate. Is this simply a case of media frenzy, or is something truly happening behind the palace walls? If history has shown anything, it is that changes within the royal family rarely happen overnight. Even the most significant shifts are carefully orchestrated, planned for years before they become public knowledge. If Charles has made a decision regarding the future, it is unlikely that the full extent of it will be revealed all at once. What comes next may not be a grand announcement, but a series of subtle moves, quiet adjustments that over time redefine the structure of the monarchy. Whether that means a stronger role for Charlotte, a continued focus on George, or a strategic shift in the responsibilities of royal family members, the message is clear. The future of the crown is being shaped right now. The weight of the monarchy has always rested on the shoulders of one person. But if the recent speculation surrounding King Charles's remarks is to be believed, that may no longer be the case. The structure of the royal family, long rooted in centuries of tradition, may be undergoing a transformation, one that redefines what it means to be an heir to the throne. Whether this shift is symbolic or something more tangible remains unclear, but one thing is certain: the public is watching closely. In recent months, subtle but noticeable shifts have been taking place within the royal family. Prince William, as the direct heir, continues to take on more public responsibilities, mirroring the way his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, gradually prepared Charles for his eventual reign. His role is unquestioned: his path to the throne clear. But what stands out is the increasing presence of the next generation, George, Charlotte, and Louis. While George, as the second in line, has naturally been the focus of much attention, Charlotte's visibility has steadily increased. Her confidence at public events, her ease in front of the cameras, and the way she carries herself have sparked conversations about the role she might play in the future. Unlike previous royal siblings, who largely faded into the background as their elder brother or sister prepared for the throne, Charlotte seems to be stepping into a more defined position. Could this be a deliberate move? If Charles's words were meant to prepare the public for a change, is he signaling that the next era of the monarchy will not be led by just one figure but rather by a collective effort? While George remains the heir, could Charlotte be positioned as a significant partner in his future reign? There is no precedent for such an arrangement in modern British history. The crown is always passed to a singular ruler, with supporting members of the royal family playing secondary roles. Even Queen Elizabeth's sister, Princess Margaret, despite her prominence, was never seen as an integral part of the monarchy's governance. But times have changed, and so has the public's perception of royal duty. If the monarchy is adapting to the times, this could be the first sign of a shift toward a more modern, dynamic leadership model, one that does not rest entirely on the shoulders of a single individual. This would not mean splitting the crown or altering the line of succession, but rather redefining the responsibilities of those within the royal family. A move like this would also serve a practical purpose. The challenges of ruling in the modern age are far greater than they were in previous centuries. With increasing scrutiny, global responsibilities, and the ever-changing role of the monarchy in British society, a singular ruler may no longer be enough to meet the demands of the institution. If Charlotte is being positioned for a greater role, the same could apply to Louis. As the younger sibling, he has naturally received less attention than his older brother and sister, but that does not mean his role has been determined yet. Could the next generation of royals function as a team rather than as a hierarchy? The British monarchy has survived for centuries by evolving when necessary. Queen Victoria shaped the institution for a rapidly expanding empire. George VI stabilized it through war, and Elizabeth II modernized it for the 21st century. Now, as Charles oversees this transition, the question is not just who will succeed him, but how they will rule. The possibility of a shift toward a more collaborative leadership style is not without challenges. The monarchy has always been built on clarity: one ruler, one direct heir. Introducing a more dynamic structure could raise new questions about responsibility, authority, and public perception. Would the British people embrace a change like this, or would they see it as a break from tradition? For now, speculation continues. Until the palace confirms or denies the theories surrounding Charles's statement, the future remains open to interpretation. But history has shown that when rumors persist for long enough, they often carry a grain of truth. Whether this is the beginning of a new chapter for the monarchy or simply a moment of public overanalysis, the coming years will reveal the true impact of Charles's words. As discussions surrounding King Charles's rumored remarks continue, one thing has become increasingly clear: whether intentional or not, his words have sparked a national conversation about the future of the monarchy. The British royal family has always operated under a delicate balance of tradition and adaptation. But if these speculations hold any truth, the institution may be on the brink of its most significant transformation in modern history. For centuries, the line of succession has been viewed as an unshakable structure, guiding the transition of power from one monarch to the next with minimal disruption. Every king and queen has been bound by the rules set forth in centuries-old laws, ensuring that the crown passes down through direct lineage. The structure was designed for stability, to prevent uncertainty and disputes over who holds the right to rule. But stability does not mean stagnation, and history has shown that when necessary, the monarchy finds ways to evolve. The possibility that Charles's words signal a shift in royal responsibilities rather than an outright change in the line of succession remains the most plausible interpretation. It is unlikely that he would seek to challenge William's position, given how deeply embedded succession laws are within British governance. But what he could be doing is preparing the institution for a future where power and responsibility are more evenly distributed among the next generation. If this is indeed the case, what could that mean for William and his children? Would the role of king be fundamentally different than it was for Queen Elizabeth II? Would George's future involve a model of shared leadership, where his siblings play a more direct role in royal affairs? These are questions without clear answers, but the very fact that they are being asked suggests that the monarchy's path forward may not be as rigid as it once was. In the past, the heir was expected to shoulder the full weight of expectation alone. This has not always been an easy task. Queen Elizabeth's father, George VI, never anticipated becoming king. His brother, Edward VIII, was the rightful heir, but his decision to abdicate for love forced a sudden and unexpected transition. George took on the role out of duty, but the strain of the position was undeniable. He ruled during a time of war and national crisis, carrying the burden of the crown with great difficulty. His premature death at the age of 56 is often attributed, in part, to the stress of his unexpected reign. By contrast, Queen Elizabeth had decades to prepare for her role. Though her ascension was still sudden due to the early death of her father, she had been trained for the throne from childhood. She understood the sacrifices it required and the discipline it demanded. Her reign was marked by an unwavering sense of duty, a solitary commitment to the role she was given. But times have changed, and so have public expectations. Unlike his predecessors, George will come of age in an era where the monarchy is no longer seen as an untouchable institution. Every action taken by the royal family is scrutinized, analyzed, and debated. The modern world demands transparency, accountability, and relevance. It is no longer enough for a monarch to simply exist as a symbol of continuity. They must actively demonstrate their value in a rapidly evolving society. If Charles's rumored remarks were meant to subtly introduce the idea of a more collective form of leadership, he may be acknowledging this reality. A future where George does not rule alone but instead relies on the support of his siblings could be a way of ensuring that the monarchy remains adaptable. It would not mean rewriting succession laws or altering the fundamental structure of the monarchy, but it could redefine what it means to be a royal leader in the 21st century. Princess Charlotte's increasing prominence in public life suggests that such a shift is already underway. The British public has watched as she confidently takes on engagements, standing alongside her family with a level of composure far beyond her years. Unlike previous royal siblings who were largely kept in the background, Charlotte is already proving that she can be a key figure in the future of the monarchy. If the next generation of royals is to function as a team rather than as a strict hierarchy, it would mark a significant break from tradition. But it would also offer practical benefits. The demands placed on modern monarchs are immense, and having a well-defined support structure within the family could strengthen the institution rather than weaken it. This model of leadership could also extend beyond George and Charlotte. Prince Louis, though still young, could find himself playing an important role in shaping the monarchy's future. His position is different from that of his siblings, but in a reimagined system, his contributions could be just as vital. Even outside of William's immediate family, the roles of other royals could be reassessed. If Charles envisions a future where responsibility is more evenly distributed, could this mean that figures such as Prince Edward, or even distant relatives, take on more significant duties? While the monarchy has historically been structured around a singular ruler, it has always relied on an extended network of family members to maintain its presence. The question now is whether the British public would accept such a change. Would a more collective approach to leadership be seen as a necessary evolution, or would it be perceived as an erosion of the monarchy's core identity? With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.